Hello and welcome to the screencast on antagonistic muscle pairs. So, your Cornell notes need to be designed as such. So, when we're talking about antagonistic muscle pairs, we're talking about muscles working together. Okay, so muscles do not work in isolation. Muscles work together to pull our bones to make movement. So, we have got the agonist, the antagonist, the synergist, and a fixator. Remember, I need quality questions within this. I am going to ask a certain amount of you just to randomly send me photos of your corner notes so I know that you are doing them. So let's crack on. So, antagonistic muscle action. As I've said, when muscles contract, it's all about pulling forces on the bones, okay, to cause movement. And muscles cross joints or else movement would not occur. Now, muscles are always assembled in groups and they work together to bring about movement. That's really what we need to know. They don't work in isolation. Muscles work together. So first of all, the agonist. The agonist is our prime mover. Okay, it is the muscle responsible for creating movement at a joint. It's also known as the prime mover. You may see it referred to as the prime mover. So it's really important you know the agonist is the prime mover. I'm going to use the bicep curl as kind of like an example throughout the whole of this in terms of the antagonistic muscle pairs or action. We're talking about the agonist is the muscle working. So if you think about it, if you're in a gym and you are lifting weights, let's say you're doing bicep curls, the muscle that is going to end up being in agony at the end of it is the bicep because it's the one working. Think agony, agonist. The one that is working is the agonist, and it gets in agony when it starts to become tired. So agonist, prime mover, the muscle responsible for creating movement. So for the agonist to do its job effectively, i.e. with a bicep curl, for the bicep to cause elbow flexion during the upward phase of a bicep curl, so we get elbow flexion taking place, the triceps brachii has to oppose the prime mover, the agonist, i.e. it has to relax, it does the opposite, and this is called the antagonist. So within a bicep curl, the antagonist opposes the agonist, okay, so that coordinated movement can happen. All you really need to know is the antagonist opposes the agonist. So in a bicep curl, the triceps brachii is the antagonist, okay. That muscle is relaxing whilst the bicep contracts so that elbow flexion can occur. These are the two main instigating parts you must know about antagonistic muscle pairs. We need to know this. In the last exam question, when I've told you we have to do identify the muscle, identify the type of joint that's identify the type of joint, identify the movement at the joint, identify which muscle is causing that movement. We then need to know, i.e. what muscle is causing the movement, the agonist, the prime mover. We need to be able to identify it. Then we need to be able to identify the antagonist, okay, so which muscle opposes that. We need to be able to identify these two, most importantly, agonist, antagonist, okay. These next two you're going to learn, the fixator and synergist, I don't want you to get confused over. I need you to know them. However, in an exam, I haven't really seen it credited because it can be a number of muscles. So I'm going to explain it to you. So we have a synergist. Okay, now a synergist are muscles that work together to enable the agonist can do its job efficiently and effectively. So for example, with regards to the muscles that we know in the arm, we know biceps brachii, we know triceps brachii. We also know the pronator and supinator that are kind of like just go over our elbow joint. We also know the deltoid. The deltoid goes over our shoulder joint, okay? And these all play a part. It's quite frustrating because the synergist is a muscle that you don't need to know, and that's very common in all of this. So I can't imagine the synergist being a vital part of your exam questions, and the same with a fixator as well. So a fixator stabilizes part of the body so that the movement can occur. So for example, when we do a bicep curl, so we have elbow flexion on the upward phase, the shoulder joint has to be stable, or else it would just be all over the place and it could cause injury. So for that to become stable, our deltoid is a fixator during a biceps curl. So during the upward phase of a bicep curl, when we have elbow flexion, we have got the bicep is the agonist, it's the prime mover, the muscle that is creating the movement. The antagonist is the triceps brachii because it opposes the agonist. The synergist muscles work together, so we'll say the pronator muscles are the synergist for a bicep curl, and the fixator is the deltoid. Remember, the deltoid muscle comes along, will be here, so it kind of fixates that whole joint there. So I just wanted to make sure it's still filming. So agonist, antagonist, synergist, fixator. That's the key information. Most importantly, agonist, antagonist. Now, I'll tell you this now just so you know. The antagonist is always, you just need to know, it's the opposite muscle. So, for example, biceps brachii, what's opposite your bicep brachii? On the back, triceps brachii. Rectus femoris, our quadricep muscle. What's opposite the quadricep muscle or the rectus femoris? It's our hamstrings, the bicep femoris. So the agonist would be the rectus femoris for knee extension. The antagonist is the biceps femoris. For knee flexion, the agonist is the biceps femoris. The antagonist is the rectus femoris. If the gastrocnemius is the agonist, the antagonist is the tibialis anterior. If your pectoralis major is the agonist, the antagonist is your trapezius. It's your rectus abdominis, your abs is the agonist, your erector spinae is the antagonist on your back. Okay, so it's all the muscles that are opposite each other are the agonist and antagonist, depending on the movement that's taking place, depends on which one is the agonist. I'm showing you this so that you understand to not get so kind of confused with fixator and synergist. Main points: agonist, prime mover. Antagonist opposes the prime mover, opposes the agonist. Really important. So for elbow flexion or a bicep curl, we've got the biceps brachii here is the agonist, triceps brachii, antagonist. Okay, it opposes the agonist. You don't need to know the brachioradialis, but the brachioradialis is a synergist. We've also got a muscle called the brachialis. I would say the pronator muscles, for example, synergist here, pronator here. So they aid the biceps brachii so that movement can happen effectively. And then finally, the deltoid muscle is the fixator. It fixes the shoulder joint so that there's no unwanted movement. And again, this is why I'm showing you this, not to confuse you, but just to show you that I don't think synergists and fixators will really get questioned, because it's saying here, the synergist is the fixator, which is the deltoid. So the main things you need to know, questions you need to get down for all of them, obviously, but really importantly, you know what an agonist is or the agonist is, and you know what an antagonist is. I'll be testing you on these in lesson, so please make sure you have good key information written down. Thank you. Bye.